peace with it in whatever your life view is.
You have to.
But I can't even fathom or imagine the pain his wife is suffering to lose a husband and a daughter like that.
Right.
Whew. Boom.
No, but Skip, because nobody thinks when you leave the house, because she had kissed Kobe so many times as he left to go to practice,
Sure.
as he left to go to work. I'm sure Gigi, they've taken this helicopter to games and to practice so many times before. Never in a million years did she think this was going to be the last time that she hugged and kissed her husband and her child.
Well, you just don't, because you can't.
No, but that just goes to show you, Skip, is that this pettiness that we have sometimes, the little silliness.
You do get on my nerves occasionally. And today I'm going to let it go.
You're going to let it go? I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But Skip, the cold and the callousness that he had on the court, the assassin that we applaud him for, once he stepped aside, Skip, you saw a transformation in Kobe over the last decade or so, that he became a much softer person. He was less guarded off the court. Skip, when I met him at this Icon Award in February of 2018, Kobe Bryant had only seen me maybe a handful of times, but he made me feel like he had known me for 20 years. And the way he talked to me, and he was just like, you know, I'm like, and I'm looking at him, and you mentioned like he was an evangelist for the game of basketball. Hollywood's biggest and brightest. They wanted to talk to him.
They did.
You see the way they looked at him like little kids look at him and Michael Jordan and LeBron James. That's how the A-list celebs looked at Kobe Bryant. That's what he became. A 17-year-old. Probably never been to California.
Yep.
All of a sudden, he was going to get turned loose on the 405 and the 10 and make a name for himself, become one of the greatest, become a father, a husband. Skip, I mean, and that Gigi, she looked just like him. She looked just, I mean, and to see them sitting courtside at ball games, especially WNBA games, and she's asking him questions, and he has his arm around her, and he's telling her, man, it breaks your heart.
So I reflect back on that 18-year-old Kobe, and everybody knows I'm the biggest Michael Jordan fan on the planet, covered him in Chicago. The audacity of this kid to come straight out of high school, and he didn't just try to beat Michael Jordan, he tried to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He adopted his walk. He started to wag the tongue like Michael did.
Yes.
He actually started to speak in the same cadence and rhythm and sort of dialect, if you will, that Michael brought out of North Carolina with him. And I'm thinking, man, you are asking for trouble here.
Right.
And he just about pulled it off. If anybody, he was the closest thing to Jordan since Jordan.
You got to realize, as a 17-year-old kid, he said, I'm going to be better than Michael. Now, remind you, Michael Jordan had already won probably 3 or 4 titles. He was already regarded universally as the best player in basketball. Here's a 17-year-old high school kid said, I'm going to be better than him. Really?
And I used to say this about Michael Jordan. He was the first one I encountered of this ilk. Michael was a supremely talented overachiever. Kobe was also that. Tiger, I put Tiger in that same category. Supremely talented overachiever, because what Kobe did was he tried to outwork Michael also.
Yes.
Nobody can appreciate how hard those three, including Tiger, have worked given their gifts, where they took it up to a level that was virtually unbeatable. And all three possessed whatever that gene is it's that cold-blooded killer gene. It's that I refuse to lose. And it propelled all three to epic greatness. Yet then Kobe goes into a second career, and all of a sudden, he's a financial baron. And all of a sudden, he's becoming a Hollywood mogul. And all of a sudden, I'm realizing that he is eclipsing Jordan in their second careers. Michael has obviously struggled as the owner and operator of the Charlotte NBA franchise. And Michael never had a great relationship with any of his children. And all of a sudden, Kobe's becoming the father of the year. And to watch him, again, to your point, grow up right before our very eyes, because there were some rocky times. There was the Eagle, Colorado incident, and then there was Shaq versus Kobe ego clashes. And there was Phil Jackson ripped Kobe twice in books, once starting in 2004 when he just called him flat out uncoachable.
Right.
And then a lot of us thought that Kobe basically ran Shaq off and said, I can do this by myself. And it was a hard road.
Right.
Because remember, first year, no Shaq, missed playoffs. Second year ended with that Game 7 loss to Phoenix.
Where he
in
barely
which
shot the ball.
Kobe shot 3 times in the second half and scored 1 point with 1 rebound. And the next year, they quick first-round exit, 5 games to Phoenix. And the next year, they lost to Boston in the finals in 6. And then somehow Kobe and Phil made peace with each other. And boom, they beat Orlando in the finals. And boom, they got revenge over Boston in the next finals. And all of a sudden, Kobe turned into everything we wanted him to be from the start. We got to watch him grow up. That's why I think he took a piece of our heart with him, because we all went through all those things on our little levels. We all did.
Skip, it's like you mentioned Michael Jackson. We like Michael because we saw him in the Jackson 5. We saw the little teenage kid, and we saw him grow up and to become what he became. We saw that. And so when we see people grow up before our eyes, we see kids become young men and grow into the latter stages of their life. This, even though this wasn't a latter stage, Skip, we feel a special connect because we like, oh, that's my guy. Skip, how many kids? I mean, you hear kids, Kobe, guys shooting jumpers. Kobe, it was like this generation, the guys that are playing now.
Sure.
Kobe and LeBron is to them what LeBron and LBJ to Mike. They looked up to Mike. Well, this generation looked up to Kobe, Skip, because that's what they saw. A lot of these kids were, when Jordan retired, they probably was like 5 or 6 years old. So they barely remember Mike. But Kobe, Skip, that's what he wanted. Skip, you talk about he walked like him. He had the knee sleeve pulled down just like Mike. He had the wristband on his elbow just like Mike. Everything Mike did, Kobe was a facsimile copy of it. And the only reason that we put Jordan in so high regard is that because we saw it before Kobe did it. Because had Kobe did it before Jordan, we would say Kobe is the guy. He was.
So what did we see from the start? We saw a kid from Lower Marion High School outside Philly come to LA in the tradition of Showtime, of Magic and Kareem and Worthy. And in his first playoff series against Utah, in the final closeout game, Kobe shot 4 air balls at age 18, 2 of them in the last few seconds to tie or win the game.
Right.
How many kids would have been broken by that?
Yes.
How many would have taken years to overcome that as they tried to walk in the shadow of Magic and Kareem? It just drove Kobe through the offseason, and you just saw the arc from there.
People looked at that and said, look, I told you he wasn't going to be that. But I looked at it like this. The coach trusted an 18-year-old.
He did.
With all these grown men, you take those shots.
Trust me, Jerry West was trusting him too, because
that drove him to become great, because his desire to become great was greater than the desire that people wanted to see him fail. The time that it takes. You see all the shots that these guys make. How many times you think those practice those shots? All those times that Kobe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, he pulls up for the game winner, or he shoots that 25-foot 3 for the game winner, or he drives and he dunks over someone. They did that over and over in practice. And to see that, I mean, and to see, man, 41, I'm 51. I got 10 more years than Kobe. And I'm like, I just remember lying there last night in my bed, I'm thinking, I'm like, Kobe gone for real, for real.
For real.
I'm like.
And yet, the last time we saw him on the basketball court, speaking of Utah in the first series that he played in the playoffs, it came full circle, 20 years, to a game against Utah at Staples. Last game, and he puts up 60 on Utah. And after the game, he just about dropped the mic. He actually sat it down on the floor and said, "Mama out."
That's full circle. From
And
4
that
air
is-
balls to a 60-pointer.
That's Hollywood, man. That's a Hollywood ending that I could not script. And this was an ending none of us can fathom. It's just impossible that this happened, but we're going to try through the rest of this show to come to grips with it, and we hope we'll help you continue to come to grips with it. And we appreciate you all being here today. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you guys. It really is true, though, that you don't have to know someone personally to understand the impact they had on the sports community and the world. And we will do our best to celebrate the life of Kobe throughout the show. And coming up next, we'll talk Patrick Mahomes as we kick off Super Bowl week in Miami. More Undisputed after this.